Board of Water and Power Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. This meeting is being broadcast on Channel 35. For specific broadcast times, please contact Channel 35 directly. Board of Water and Power Commissioners, please stay present for roll call. President Marks?
Present.
Vice President Katz?
Present.
Commissioner Ortega?
Present.
Commissioner Pinder?
Present.
Commissioner Tran?
Present.
5 board members, a quorum is present. Mr. President?
Good. Thank you very much, Madam Board Secretary. We're going to start. First, good morning, everybody. I see we have a good full house. Thank you for taking the time to come down and join us today. We're going to start with the election of officers, which we're supposed to do annually, usually at the beginning of July. The floor is now open for nominations for the position of Vice President, and I will exercise my privilege as chair to start with the first nomination and nominate to be the Vice President of our commission for the next year, the current Vice President, Narit Katz.
Thank you.
Are there any other nominations?
Do we second that, or is it necessary?
No need to second.
No.
No, it's just if there's any other names to be considered.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other names, we will close the nominations. And Madam Secretary, can I ask you to call the roll to approve Narit Katz serving as, continuing to serve as Vice President?
President Marks?
Aye.
Vice President Katz? I'm sorry.
Or do I recuse myself?
Commissioner Ortega?
Yes.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner Tran?
Aye.
4 ayes, motion adopted.
Okay, thank you very much and congratulations. And thank you for your service. We will now proceed to the office of President, and the floor is now open for nominations for the position of President. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate our current president, President Marks, to continue in his role. Thank you very much for your leadership.
Thank you. This is not a quid pro quo.
No.
Thank you very much. Are there any other nominations for President? No. Okay, thank you. Hearing none, the nominations are now closed. Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Vice President Katz?
Aye.
Commissioner Ortega?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner Tran?
Aye.
4 ayes, motion adopted.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, everybody, and appreciate it. Today, by the way, we have a very special event happening downstairs for the employees of the Department of Water and Power, because 2 years from right now, 2 years from today, will be the opening of the LA 28 Olympic Games. And that's why I'm wearing my LA 84 Games DWP pin
Oh, nice.
today. There's a Road to 28 event that is happening today and tomorrow. I'll be speaking at it. Vice President Katz will be speaking at it. I think David Jacot from our power division will be speaking at it. Somebody else, I think 2. I think we have at least 1 other department speaker, maybe 2 others. LA Clean Tech Incubator, Lacey, operates a clean tech innovation hub in the Arts District out of the La Cretz campus, which is a DWP project and a DWP facility. So we're happy to partner with them. The Road to 28 Summit that they're doing today and tomorrow down at the Intuit Dome is bringing together leaders not just from government and not just from the private sector and the energy sector, but also from LA 28. Athletes, including Olympic athletes, will be there. Movie and entertainment industry personalities are there, all around the idea of how the Olympic Games will create a legacy of clean air and sustainability for our city that lasts past the Games, past the time when the Olympics and the Paralympics are here. We had tremendous impact on our city that was positive from the 1932 Games, which my father was at, from the 1984 Games that I was at, and probably others in this room. And there's, if you drive down the road and you see automated signals, for example, that work and speed traffic, that's a 1984 Olympics contribution to our city. If you look at the Tom Bradley International Terminal at LAX, that was built in large part and catalyzed because of the 84 Games. And if you look at the LAX improvements now, a lot of them are focused on being done and ready for the 28 Games. We at the Department of Water and Power are on track and on budget to finish our, together with LA Sanitation, our project for water reclamation and groundwater replenishment in the San Fernando Valley at the Tillman water reclamation facility, and that will be done before the games start, and happen to be across the street from an area where 3 different Olympic events will be held in the Sepulveda Basin. So there's a lot to be happy about, and 2 years from today, I hope that we'll all get to see an LA which pulls off an Olympics which are second to none, which leave a lasting legacy, and are at least as much fun as the FIFA World Cup games have been while they've been here in Los Angeles. And for those of you itching to get out of here by noon, I don't know that we will, but there is a game today I'm sure some of you might want to see. Let's turn to the minutes, and the minutes of the previous meeting, which was on June 9, 2026, have been distributed to all of the commissioners. Are there any corrections needed to the minutes, committee commissioners? There being none, is there a motion to approve agenda item D, the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes, agenda item E.
E.
Second.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
President Marks?
Aye.
Vice President Katz?
Aye.
Commissioner Ortega?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner Tran?
Aye.
5 ayes, motion adopted.
Thank you very much. Let's move to public comment. Madam Secretary?
Public comment is now open at this time. During general public comment, members of the public may speak on any agenda item or any matter within LADWP's subject matter jurisdiction. Each speaker will have up to 2 minutes per item with a maximum of 5 minutes total. If you choose to speak on a specific item, your comments must remain on topic. Otherwise, your time may be forfeited. You will be verbally notified when your time allotment has expired. We have 2 speakers at this time. The first speaker is Susie Shannon, who will be afforded 2 minutes to speak.
Great, thank you so much. I'm actually here with Housing as a Human Right, speaking on the Barclay Hotel, which has 91 units of extremely low-income housing that still have not been brought online for the last 5 years. I first want to recognize the leadership of David Hansen, because he has been really great at moving the project forward. We are in a bit of a situation, though, because we need to build a vault at a cost of $1.5 to $2 million, and then we just got hit with over $480,000 of fees from the DWP to bring these 91 units online. As we just heard, the Olympics are going to be here in 2 years. The city has really prioritized helping to find permanent housing for our unhoused community, and that $480,000 is a lot of money, and so we're looking for a waiver or some way to really reduce those fees, because right now it's become prohibitively expensive with that plus the building of the vault. And so we just wanted to bring this to the commission just to see how we can all work together to make sure that we're meeting the priorities of the city by bringing online this extremely low-income housing while we're, meeting that as well as maybe helping us out a little bit here with these exorbitant fees. So thank you very much, and thank you for giving me time to speak this morning.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shannon. And I'm familiar with the Barclay. We can't talk about it because it's not on the agenda, but I do appreciate you bringing this to our attention. It's something the Board of Commissioners has been focusing on quite a bit. And I know we had a meeting a few months ago where Commissioner Pinder also had some comments in support of nonprofit housing and in the Barclay situation. So maybe Jason Rondo, who's head of our power division, can have somebody talk with you today just about the issues.
Yeah, we absolutely will, Commissioner, and Emil Abdel-Shahid, Assistant General Manager over Planning and Innovation, is here. So he is very familiar with the project and obviously has worked closely with Dave on this. So he will connect with them, and we will do our best to support them and continue to move this project forward.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker will be Ms. Manali Rashidon. She's speaking on item O21. Because this is a grievance matter, she's afforded 5 minutes of speaking time.
Good morning. I respectfully want to request that the board sent back my grievance to the PRC for further review and investigation. I believe that the decision was made based on falsified information provided by water quality management based on no evidence. Although I submitted a lot of evidence, a lot of emails and communications, by reviewing the decision, by reviewing the grievance decision file, I realized that a lot of my evidence, a lot of exhibitions that I submitted were not taken into consideration or were disregarded. I was subject to, it's very unfortunate that I was subject to retaliation and harassment since July 2021 because of, I guess, EEO complaint, which was filed by the former director of water quality on my behalf. And then when after 2 years, it went back to the water quality division, at all levels, they started to retaliate against me. I have had multiple grievances, and it's unfortunate that I believe none of them were taken seriously. And through time, I was even injured, bodily injured. I was harassed. I was sent to medical evaluator, and they determined, and the department accepted that I was injured by my by the assignment and excessive pressures that my supervisor and assistant supervisor put over me. For this grievance, what they did was they just, for example, one claim was that I didn't complete a task, but it was not my task. And the other thing is the person, there's an email. It's so obvious that in that email, the person says that I needed to continue with that task. Nobody ever asked me to finish or complete that task. So I continued within the time that I had, and during that period, I had 8 other tasks to finish, most of them time sensitive. So I just continued, and it was about like reading and transcribing a handwritten of another employee, and it was so impossible to read because it was his handwriting. Even I was going to him, he himself could not read it. I'm 100% sure that nobody in this room can even read 1 page of that 6-7 pages of like illegible handwriting. But as much as I could, I did it, and I submitted to the person who was primarily was assigned for that task. So what did I do wrong? I just continued as they asked me to do so. The other thing is they just printed a year after that, a year after the incident, when they wanted to retaliate because of a certain reason, they printed my badge activity, employee badge activity, and no one ever asked us that we must use our employee badge to enter the building. I don't work at JFE, I work in water quality lab. And it's like when 5 employees in the beginning of the shift, they go to the door to enter, one of them, they use their badge and everybody else get in. A lot of times because of my injury, like work-related injury and mobility issue, the security person, he was opening the door and holding the door for me, and I was not using my employee badge. So then a year after that, they gave me this printout of the badge employee saying that, oh, you were absent. If it was that serious, if it were considered a major offense deserving an adverse employee action, it should have...
Excuse me, Speaker, your time has expired.
Okay. It should have been brought to me before. I mean, I didn't know I have to use the employee badge, so they added all this.
Excuse me,
1,
Speaker, your
2,
time has
3,
expired. Please wrap up your remarks.
And then they, yeah, that's it. So I respectfully request that my grievance is sent back to the PRC for further investigation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for speaking. Madam Secretary, can I confirm that she's talking to item O21? Is that correct?
O21, yes.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Ms. Rashadan, for coming to talk to us about and to appeal the PRC action. This is an agenda item. I don't know if the chair of our PRC, if Commissioner Ortega wants to have any comments on it in the public session or not. No comments.
I will make a comment if I may, because
Commissioner Pinder?
022, if that is the correct
21.
21, thank you. 021 also has my name on it because I am part of the grievance committee. When this lady first appeared, she was just speaking to the commission. I was not at that time on this grievance committee. I just want to say to the person that just spoke, would you stand? Just stand so I can see you. Thank you. I want to say to you, I was just noting the time. So far, you have given 5 years of your life to this back and forth. I never tell anybody to sue anybody. But in your case, the reason I would say to you to seek legal counsel, because sometimes an outside legal counsel can communicate who has your interest 100% at heart, can communicate with you in a way that your internal organization perhaps cannot.
Respectfully, I would advise the commissioners to not provide legal advice to members of the public, but understood. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not providing legal advice. I'm telling you to get somebody else who can provide legal advice, because this is going on and it is apparently, eating at you. 5 years is a lot to fight this. DWP prides itself on trying to resolve the issues of its employees. Myself, as a member of this particular board that ruled against you, we want to see you happy, but it obviously is not going to come through anything that the board or the commission can do on your behalf. So this is not something that I'm dodging and afraid to speak on. What I say, I mean, to the point that I get criticized by the attorney of the city attorneys. I don't mean to give you legal advice. I'm just giving you human advice. This has gone as far as it can go with that committee and with the board.
Apologies. I don't mean to keep interrupting. One other thing to note is that the public comment portion is not intended to be a back and forth with the members of the public. So I understand this is an agendized item. I believe that any detailed discussion about this item should be reserved for, is it O21? And again, I'm not trying to criticize,
That's
just trying to
quite
keep
all
this
right.
on.
And to her credit, it was not a back and forth. She simply accepted what I was saying. Thank you very much. No, that would be back and forth.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Pinder, and thank you also, Ms. Rashadan, for your comments.
May I ask if Mr. Timothy Lamb is in the room? Timothy Lamb? Okay, there is one e-comment that was submitted to all members at the dais, and it will go into the public record. Public comment is now closed at this time, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for the members of the public who spoke. We appreciate it. I'd like to turn now to our interim general manager, Dave Hansen, so that he and the executive leadership team can tell us what's up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. We wanted to first start and talk about on June 17th, just before 2:30 p.m., the fire erupted at the Boyle Heights area, that cooling warehouse. I did want to highlight DWP's role in that. We did have some support from the Office of Emergency Management to go out there with their expertise. Also, a lot of the lessons learned from the Palisades, we were able to kind of lend a hand out there. We did have some field crews on the water side ready to make changes to the water system to help fight the fire. We had some power folks out there as well helping with the disconnect of the solar panels. All in all, it's not our facility, it's not our project, but we're there to lend a hand to LAFD in the time of need. We've had a couple of pretty impactful meetings. Last Thursday, we had a community meeting at the Stevenson Middle School where we did a Q&A with the public. We are at this time accepting philanthropic donations that we're going to be legally channeling to the bill credits for the ratepayers in the area. The mechanics of that.
The low-income ratepayers.
Yeah, the low-income ratepayers that were specifically, not targeted, but specifically pointed out by the donations and that met certain criteria. We are working our way through the mechanics of that, but we're getting pretty close. It seems like we have city attorney support at this point, and it's very clear that it's not ratepayers' money, it's not other bill payers paying for this, it's external donations to help with those folks be able to offset some of the additional electricity use that they're doing while they run air conditioning and purifiers. We're also participating in some of the pop-ups that I think just started yesterday. We've got some folks from Z's team and Joe Romalo's team out there interacting with the community and offering some payment assistance programs and just general education about how to move forward during this time. And again, due to the subject matter expertise that we have from the Palisades, the UROC, and that forward deployment, being out there with the community in the middle of a horrible event like this is kind of lends us, we're able to lend a hand through the lens of experience. Now I'd like to kick it over to the power system, Mr. Jason Rondu, for some updates.
Okay. Got a couple updates, and then we've got another update at the end where I'll call on Emil Abdelshahid to give an update on Executive Directive 19. Before we get into that, I'd like to provide an update on an extended outage that we had in Porter Ranch on June 28th. We had approximately 2,700 customers out, and this was actually an extended outage. It was about 24 hours, and the cause was a failure of one of our underground circuits. It kind of highlights the trade-off that we have with underground versus overhead. It often takes a little bit more time to diagnose what the issue is and repair it. We did have crews working around the clock to make sure that we identified and remediated the issue. And on the morning of June 30th, we were able to get restore power to the entirety of the area. We also recently had a power engineering hiring event, and I wanted to highlight this because this actually deviates from the past norm that we had of going to different universities and hiring based off of local universities, universities across the U.S. where we'd go and recruit. This was a little bit different from that, where we wanted to target the approach is more of an open approach, meaning we worked with the personnel department to advertise, to recruit, to partner with SWE, NSBE, SHIP, and others to let them know that we were doing a mass hiring event. We did approximately 108 on-site interviews. We had 307 people attend the event. We had booths from our labor partners from all of the different employee resource groups. We actually made 31 conditional job offers. This is going to be really critical for us because, as this board well knows, we've got a massive amount of new business work, a massive amount of rebuilding and undergrounding work that we're going to be doing as part of the Palisades. We also have the convention center and the port electrification. So these engineers are going to be really critical for a lot of the work that's right in front of us today. And this might also be an opportunity for us to augment the approach that we do to hiring. So not only getting folks that just graduated from universities, but also partnering with our other engineering associations and really trying to get not just sometimes more experienced engineers as well. So we The last update that I have, I believe, is the Executive Directive 19. So this board directed the power system to identify metrics, identify improvements, engage the public, and then report back within 30 days. We intend to file a formal public report, but just given the latency of the reporting process and the filing process, we did want to invite Emile Abdelshahid up to the podium to give a brief verbal update on some of the significant accomplishments and measurable outcomes that we've made thus far with ED 19. So Emile, please take it away. And I'm sorry, Emile, before you start, I do have in my notes that we may have a video queued up, so I'm not sure if we actually do have that, but I think it'd be good to start with your verbal update, and then if we do have the video pop up, we can pivot to that at the end. Thanks, Emile.
Great. Thank you. My name is Emile Abdelshahid, Assistant General Manager of Planning and Innovation. And so in response to the board resolution, we've taken a lot of concrete steps and actions since then and prior to that. So I just wanted to give everyone a quick update. First, June 11th, we held what we call Power Ready LA, a stakeholder group where we brought in various members of the development community, housing developers, solar developers, electric vehicle charging developers, and really put them together so we can get a lot of good feedback and help us answer and provide feedback on various issues that they've brought up and that we need to address. And so a lot of the feedback that we got was very consistent with a lot of the information that we've had prior to that. And so all that's being rolled into our transformation efforts as part of our 8019 efforts and our continuous improvement. So that was a very successful event, and we're synthesizing all the data that we received so that we can continue to push that advisory group effort forward. Regarding our new business transformation efforts, we're working on a focused set of initiatives for 8019. Several of them are underway. A few of them have already been completed, and we're making a lot of great progress. Some of the progress that we've made have led to some very noticeable improvements in our backlogs. We've seen, since we started this after the executive directive, more or less since May, we've seen a 10% reduction in some of our cable drawing backlogs and a large drop in some of our other areas. So we're seeing significant improvements since May, and we're looking to continue to do that. We have a very focused effort to hit some very impactful initiatives between now and September, and we're making some significant progress. We're about 60% complete with the overall 8019 set of initiatives that we're pushing forward. Once we get through those, we'll be reviewing our portfolio and creating another set of initiatives that are going to continue to make some significant improvements for our customers. The last item I want to update everybody on is transparency. So these efforts are very important and significant, but not being able to track it in a transparent fashion is also something that we want to address. So we've put together a very, what we think is a very complete set of dashboards that we're going to be including in our board report, and eventually going to be putting some of that information, make it publicly available. So we've been making some significant progress. I do want to highlight one item regarding transparency. On Monday, July 13th, yesterday, we went live with an update to our online status tracker. Some of you may have used it in some of the department business or talking to some of our customers, but immediately as that went live, we were seeing feedback from some of our customers who deal with many projects where they didn't need to ask what the status of their project was. They knew that the ball was in their court and that DWP was waiting on something like a payment or some information. So just to see that information coming to us from our customers voluntarily the first day that goes live, I think says a lot about how impactful that's going to be, but that's not the end of the road in terms of improving our communication with our customers. So I'll stop there. We do look forward to submitting that report formally and reporting up on a monthly basis on the progress that we're making.
You know, it's exciting to see the progress and that we've actually got those dashboards out. The feedback we're getting from the community is the builders community is one of the most exciting things of this whole ordeal. And to have their involvement and their engagement as we kind of co-develop this thing together, it really makes it something very meaningful and useful. The mayor was very clear. She wants ribbon cutting ceremonies, so we're going to be really putting this thing out there and advertising it. So good job, Emile. Good job,
Let
Jason.
me say, Emil, if I may, and obviously, since we started public comment discussing, a nonprofit housing development, which is trying to get connected, there are others I've talked to in the valley. There's commercial market rate, mixed use, other, projects citywide. I've talked to some from different city council districts. So this has clearly been a big issue that led the mayor to implement ED19 and led our board to direct management to implement it. So I want to thank you, because I know this is very hard work. It is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
With respect to the dashboards, can you say a little bit more about, there's the internal status check, there will be external dashboards as well that will give the customers even more information, or their contractors, as they're moving through the application, design and engineering, into construction and energization phase. So say a little bit more about the dashboard rollout, and also to what extent it's going to be integrated to what LA Department of Building and Safety and other departments like engineering and so forth, and streets that we're collaborating with in order to make new business connections quicker and safer.
Sure. So the dashboard I was referring to is helping us track metrics so that we can see how we're improving based on some objective data. Our online status tracker that went live yesterday, kind of levels us up in terms of the communication we're able to do digitally with our customers. And as we collaborate with the Department of Building and Safety and Bureau of Engineering, our data team, the Build LA team, is going to be working together to integrate the different departments' data into our online portal that's hopefully going to go live in September. So that's the next step in terms of our ability to communicate, bringing all of their project information in one place. So this is something we're doing collaboratively and independently. While other city departments work to collaborate and bring data together, we really want to make sure we stitch it together as quickly as possible. So we're taking, I think, a little bit of an initiative to bring it into our online portal. An online portal is nothing, nothing crazy. It's just standard messaging communication protocols that we like to use with our customers that are available to us today. So we're just working to make sure that platform is ready to go. Those dashboards will help inform the project timelines. So as we calculate average durations for various parts of the projects, that way our customers have a lot more predictability into when their projects are going to get done. When things get delayed, when payments don't get made on time, they know how that's going to impact their projects from the time they submit those payments or they're requested. Therefore, at the end, there's no surprise as to when those projects are going to get done. So all that's going to be stitched together as part of our portal.
Good, great work. And I appreciate too that you focus on how customers are reacting. Just so you know, I received yesterday an unsolicited compliment from a company that does EV charging network installations, and they do it nationally. And they said that DWP is now their preferred California utility to deal with, and we used to be their least preferred California utility. So that's great to see things like that.
The unsolicited feedback is, I think, the most critical for us. So.
Yeah. But any commissioners have any other questions for Emil or Jason?
I'm just really glad to see this work moving forward. I think it'll make a big difference for our customers, and interested to see the actual website too at some point.
All right, Emil, thank you for your leadership on this and all the support groups within the power and joint systems. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Jason. Now, Mr. Anselmo Collins for an update on the Koreatown water quality incident.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning, Commissioners. As you know, on July 1st, the Department of Water and Power issued a boil water notice in the Koreatown area. So I wanted to provide a little background on how we got to that point and what ended up happening. So the boil water notice was issued on a Wednesday. However, if we backtrack a little bit, on Sunday, we received results from normal samples that we take throughout the system on a regular basis. And it indicated that one of the sample locations had what they call total coliform, meaning it's got an early warning system that there is some kind of bacteria in the distribution system. When that happens, we are required to resample that location. And also, we take samples basically just up north and south of that location as well. So on Monday, we sent our staff out there to take additional samples. And not only we grabbed those 3 locations, but we had other sample locations in the general vicinity. And when the second sample was taken, that particular location actually ended up detecting E. coli. This location, we call it DS61, is by a distributing station in the Koreatown area. And when that happened, we are required by the Division of Drinking Water, which is part of the State Water Resources Control Board, to issue a boil water notice. And we have a 24-hour period to do so. So like I said, we had a 24-hour period to do so. So the first thing that we had to do as a result of that was to activate our water quality incident command system and start working on identifying exactly which areas were impacted. This had the potential to input an entire service zone, which would have impacted almost 150,000 people. But because we had significant data from multiple points in that general vicinity, we were able to actually narrow it down to a 1 block by 2 block area. So in general, we're talking about on the north from 5th Street, on the south is 6th Street, on the west side is South Ardmore, on the east side it was South Mariposa. The actual sample tap location was actually on 6th and Normandy, so it was on Normandy itself. So we issued a boil water notice on Wednesday morning. At that time, we already had deployed staff that went out with bottled water. They were pre-stationed over there. We had approximately 120 people that were out in the site doing a couple of things. One, providing drinking water, bottled water, but also going door to door and knocking on each door and putting the notification so that the resident will be able to know that we actually had a boil water notice that was in effect. The area that we're talking about was a lot smaller. We only had 33 service connections because it was a multi-family area. So I believe there were a little over 460 unique addresses here. So we actually had staff go door to door and knock on every single door and provide the information. It was put online, next door. It was also done on media. The reason why we did door to door, because it was such a very kind of discrete area, we wanted to make sure we got to them and only them so that they knew exactly what was going on. So the one question you may ask is, well, how did we know that it was only restricted to that area? That was based on all the data that we had. It just so happens that this particular sample tap location had been moved from like 20 feet over because it had been hit by a car previously. So we still had that connection point. So we took a sample there and we were able to work with the Division of Drinking Water, looked at all the data that we had. Everything was clear except for that one sample tap location. So our water distribution folks went out, they did a lot of flushing, and we retested, and we were able to get clear samples that we took on Tuesday. We got the results on Wednesday. This highlights a couple of things. One, it highlights the fact that there was no contamination to our distribution system, which I hope everybody who's watching and listening understands that. It was isolated to one location that was feeding a distribution station. But also a couple of other things that I think are important. One is a great working relationship with our regulator, Division of Drinking Water. We were able to sit down with them, provide them with all the data that we had, all the water quality data, looking at everything surrounding it, even the location that was probably 10 feet away from the one that was showing, and that was showing clear. So that was a clear indication that this was an isolated incident. Also, we had a lot of support from the mayor's office in Council District 10. This is an area that has a lot of Korean-speaking population. So all the notifications that I talked about, we did in English, Spanish, and Korean. But to make sure that we were addressing everybody's concerns, the council office and the mayor's office actually had staff that speaks Korean, and they were out there with us. So as we were talking to the community, they were able to speak to people who only spoke Korean. So I think that was extremely important. And the other part too, and I mentioned this in other occasions, the fact that we have our own water quality lab was extremely important. When you're doing these type of tests, once you take the sample, it has to incubate for 18 hours. Then you take the test and you get the results. If we were using a commercial lab, anything after 4 p.m., automatically they'll wait till the following day. We actually were able to take samples late in the day, take it straight to the water quality lab that we own and operate, and begin the testing process and have results the following morning. So we were able to go from knowing that something was in the system on Sunday, issuing the boil water notice on Wednesday, and being able to take down the boil water notice on Thursday. I will say that we had a huge amount of support by multiple people in the department. I would say we had at least 200 people that responded. And I would like to, if you don't mind, mention some of the groups, because I think they've done an excellent job. And I always appreciate all the support that we get. Obviously, our water incident command folks from Water Quality, the Water Quality Lab that was basically open the entire time, taking these samples and running the tests necessary. Our water distribution crews and the safety personnel as well. Our water operations people that were out there providing support as well. Our water GIS and planning group, they were the ones that were able to put the maps together to be able to demonstrate and to show the exact area that was being impacted. Our water emergency control center that was also providing support. The department's Office of Emergency Management, who provided a lot of support as well in doing a lot of logistic coordination. Our corporate GIS group, our corporate communications under Joe Romalo, who did a great job in getting all the materials printed pretty quickly, and also getting the information out there and making sure that the information was accurate and up to date. Our print shop that was able to get all this information printed pretty much overnight. And it was the boil water notice and then taking it down, by the way. Also our community relations group, as well as LIGA, our customer services division, customer corporate support services, CSD key accounts, the call center, our fleet. Our fleet guys are the ones that went out there and had the water, bottled water readily available first thing on Wednesday morning. So even before we actually issued the boil water notice, they were out there, ready to go. They had established the perimeter that they were going to be canvassing, and they were pre-positioning water, which I think ended up being extremely important for the folks that live in that area. Also, our UPCTs and facility services that were helping our fleet folks distribute the water. And lastly, our security services, because we did leave some stuff out there, and we actually had security there the entire time. So this was, I think, a group effort. Once again, the mayor's office, Council District 10, also DDW, I need to mention, and last but not least, LA County Public Health. We did have a few restaurants there, and they do have to shut down when there isn't drinking water available, and we work with them collaboratively to minimize the impact, providing water and ice throughout this entire event. So all in all, I think the department and the water system and all the support groups did an exceptional job in managing this particular issue. But once again, I'm very proud to say that we know that this was not an issue within our distribution system. But since we didn't know that at the moment, we had to make sure that we took every single precaution possible. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a very detailed report, and I'm going to thank you for that. I also want to thank you for keeping me informed in real time as that was all kind of unfolding. And also, Dave, thank you for keeping me informed on that, and also on the the status of the Lineage fire in Boyle Heights, and how we were able to assist the fire department in that. I mean, these are big situations, and if you live in those neighborhoods, they're especially urgent. So thank you very much for that.
Yep. Very good. Thanks, Anselmo. Next, we're going to kick it over to Corporate Health and Safety, Mr. Mark Hendon, to give us an update on Safety Week. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I really appreciate the opportunity to present on Safety Week. It was an incredible event. It was held the week of June 22nd through June 26th. It was a joint effort. We had a lot of collaboration. We partnered with the Joint Safety and Training Institute, Water and Power, System Safety Offices, and Corporate Communications. Joe Romano's team was very instrumental in making this all happen as well. And together, we created a catalog of events for all of our our employees to engage in. And these were designed to celebrate DWP's safety culture and at its heart to honor our employees for their commitment to safety. Some of those activities included raffles, daily safety challenges, did you know spotlights, in memoriam tributes for our fallen employees who have passed away in the line of duty. Spotlights on Safety, a video series, and we had a safety perception survey that is still ongoing, and safety pledges that our employees completed, a photo contest, and an opportunity for our employees to nominate peers who are true champions of safety in their organizations. And in that event, we were able to capture some metrics to measure the participation of our employees. And throughout that, and these activities were designed by nature to reach out to every demographic of the company. So whether you work in the field, whether you work in the office, and some of these activities could be participated on their computer, on your phone, or in the field. So we're able to catalog a total participation of over 11,800 discrete participation events from our employees. This includes over 9,200 virtual activity participations and over 2,500 in-person daily activity participations. We received more than 100 safety champion nominations from employees nominating their peers. And they're going to be highlighted and presented and honored in an upcoming town hall on August 21st. I'd like to mention their names. This is impressive, the nominations, and this wasn't just naming a name, this was giving the why. And so, each of these individuals received multiple nominations. And forgive me if I'm going to do my best for pronunciations here, but Naphtali Dominguez, Ivan Romero, Natalie Round, Brad Weller, and Trayvon Williams. And I'd like to point out, too, that these employees represent every demographic of the company as well. So we have water represented here, we have power, we have joint, we have admin, we have field represented here. With our photo contest, we received over 170 entries. And I can envision in the future we could have a photo gallery of these photos. They're truly impressive. And the theme of the photo contest was called Caught in the Act of Safety. And so these are real-life, genuine photos taken in the field that represent the daily activities that our employees are going through every day. And our photo contest winner is Maran Para. And so with that, I want to thank all of the groups for their, who assisted in the planning, the coordination, the execution of the week, and their collaboration truly made this a memorable event. And, it just also shows that safety is not just a week. The level of participation that we see from our employees, this is going on every day. But that being said, Safety Week this was our second inaugural. We had one last fall. But this is something going forward that we'll be doing, we're committed to doing every year going forward. And that concludes the report.
Mark, is the safety perception survey, is the current winner still Anselmo for water system on feedback from the survey?
The survey, it's still ongoing, so it remains to be determined. So it's anyone's game right now.
But Anselmo's in the lead.
He's answering the question, is that right?
No, he's not answering the question.
Don't skew the voting, it's still going.
It's still ongoing.
No campaigning while the polls are open.
The safety perception survey will go on through mid-August, so we still have another month.
Well, thank you for highlighting the safety culture that's critical to what we do.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Next, Mr. Joe Romalo.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to share a few items with you from our corporate communications team. We recently finished, together in partnership with the Power System, publication of the Power Infrastructure Plan. These are publications that really try to synthesize and make a lot simpler a great deal of the work that goes on in the department every day, investing in infrastructure, our reliability, our overall power system priorities when it comes to infrastructure modernization and replacement. I wanted to thank the Power Systems PSRP team, communications and our graphics team for making it possible. It's also available on our website at ladwp.com/reports. It, together with our water infrastructure plan, which was published recently as well, and our briefing book, which is an annual compilation of all of the department goals and accomplishments, just really serve as foundational documents for people to better understand the work that we do, the work that our 12,000 plus employees do every day. In addition to that, we recently published the annual Drinking Water Quality Report, a very nice partnership with water system staff. Pleased to report that the department met all drinking water standards throughout the year. It does take about 6 months to complete this report. It's a statutorily required, regulatory required document, and there's a great deal of work that goes into it. I want to thank the Regulatory Affairs, Water Quality Laboratory Communications, and the Customer Service Division and the print shop for all the work they do in getting that out to our customers. They all receive notification of its availability, and it is available online for anyone to read who has interest in learning more about the water quality throughout the city. And then finally, I did want to report some numbers that kind of have a mixed feelings about. We hit an all-time high for our enrollment in our low-income program last month. 162,530 of our customers qualify for our low-income rate. That's a 50,000 customer increase over 6 years. We were at 113 in May of 2020. So we have made a concerted effort to increase enrollment, increase awareness to our customers. It's also an indication of the challenges that our customers are having in affording their bills, not just utility bills, but all of their bills. So with that, I do want to repeat that we have great programs, money-saving programs for our customers, easily found at ladwp.com/save, or call and speak to one of our customer service reps at 1-800-DIAL-DWP.
Can I ask you a question, Joe, on that? Because I think your point's really well taken. How do we know how much of that uptick, which is significant uptick, 40% sounds like, is because of better outreach and communicating all the programs we have available to help low-income customers, and how much of it is because there's more low-income customers, more people really need help, in this age of inflation and high prices generally?
I would say a lot of it is due to the outreach, because for a number of years we had not done outreach and awareness in enrollment. There was some advice that had been given regarding legalities of it, et cetera. And so it had not been promoted until, I would say, just after COVID. Coming out of COVID, we made a concerted effort. And if we look at the long-term trend line, it really did increase when we started that campaign that was called We're Here to Help at LADWP, and we did a tremendous amount of advertising then, digitally, all channels really, social, and we saw a significant increase in enrollment. It's impossible to tell. We know from our experience on the phones as well as at our customer service centers that more and more customers are in need of financial assistance and are coming to us, and also from obviously our arrears as well. So it's a bit of it's hard to diagnose fully, but I know that it is in part because we've made the effort to do outreach. We're also trying to make it simpler for our customers. That's something that the Ratepayer Advocate had also advised on. We're looking at ways to make it a lot simpler for our customers to enroll online or in person. And at our customer service Saturdays, which really have occurred more since COVID, we've seen a lot of activity from our customers, interest in assistance programs, as well as the discount rate. And discount rate isn't a lot. We need to do better in that regard for how we're able to design that, and we know that there's legal issues that we're trying to work through on some potential future charter changes that could really allow us to better help our customers and target assistance to those who need it most.
Yeah, that the charter changes that are needed. Yeah. And I know that's part of the things we'll be discussing in future meetings. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Joe. That concludes my report.
Good. Any questions from the commissioners for management? Good. Thank you very much for those good reports. It's good to see. I'd like to turn to Mr. Tim O'Connor, who's the Ratepayer Advocate, to see if you have any comments on the agenda items or otherwise.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, President Marks. Nice to see you after the break in between the last meeting. OPA has reviewed a number of the items before the board today, met with staff, reviewed documentation, and assessed the available information, in particular on items 8, 10, 11, 17, and 20. We have no issues with any of those items. Did want to bring forward comments specifically on items for approval number 7 and 16, and so I'll just provide some brief remarks on those. OPA did not submit any written comments today, but we'll be providing these orally. So item number 7 is about the approval of the annual adjustment to the low income eligibility criteria for the Easy Save program. OPA supports the approval of these updated income limits for the program so that it reflects the revised federal poverty guidelines issued annually by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. But as we heard just recently from Mr. Amalo, there is a significant customer need for programs like this, and as a result, OPA thinks it would be appropriate for DWP and for OPA and others to evaluate the benefits and trade-offs of different income thresholds, including different multiples of the federal poverty level. Currently, we index it to a 200% of the federal poverty level, or an alternative definition like the area median income that's currently used by the Senior Citizen and Disability Lifeline and CAMERA programs. Being able to look at the locational issues associated with Los Angeles and applying different indices than what is applied across the U.S., essentially assuming Los Angeles economic conditions would be similar to those in other parts of the country, really would mean that we are not adjusting our programs for the specific economic conditions that we have here, and that partnering to revisit some of these income level eligibility criteria, we think could increase the number of households eligible for the Easy Safe program, since today we just heard only about 10% of households are actually receiving the discount. This is in alignment with findings and recommendations our office recently put out in a report we released in late June, which can be found on our website at opa.lacity.gov/affordability. Before I move to item number 16, just provide any opportunity for questions or clarifications.
I'll say on item 7, we will be deferring that item due to an error actually in the agenda, because it should be referring to 2026, not 2024. So that will be taking your comments into account, and if they're written comments you have time, that will be pushed to a future meeting, probably the next meeting.
Okay, understood. Thank you. And on item number 16, which is approval of the Notch Peak Power sales agreement and the agency agreement between DWP and SCAPA, we support the execution of the sales agreement and the agency agreement, which together are necessary to procure power from this project. The proposed agreements represent a really meaningful step towards achieving the city's clean energy objectives under LA 100, while we think maintaining a reasonable balance between cost and risk and long-term system value. It's a significant expenditure, but one that is in alignment, we think, with prior recent purchase agreements executed by the department, and that would conform with what we would see in the expected market conditions. Our findings are supported by expert third-party analysis from professional services firms that OPA engages with, and the pricing of the project, we think, represents a reasonable and cost-effective investment when evaluated against the alternatives and the long-term system needs. While the agreements are expected to result in some modest near-term increase in retail rates, approximately 0.35%, we find these impacts to be reasonable in light of the long-term benefits associated with displacing things like natural gas generation. And we think the department may be able to capture additional value as the regionalized energy market and DWP's participation within it matures. We've been speaking with energy staff on that, and we understand that maturation is in process, and we'll see that develop in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting to me. Every time we get to approve a power purchase agreement for solar, the prices are dropping. It's nice to see.
That may be a short-term observation as we see some of the long-term implications of price hikes. But yes, it is good to see here.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Do any commissioners have questions for the ratepayer advocate? Good. Is that it?
Thank you, yes.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate that. So now we'd like to move on to see if there are items that can be recommended for approval in a block vote. As I mentioned, item number 7 is to be deferred. Also, to make sure that the world knows our board secretary is on top of things. The reason for the mistake is because the resolution from the city attorney's office was mistaken. But the management did submit the correct letter to our board, and we did receive it, and we understood what was being asked for. So I suspect that in a future meeting we'll have no trouble with that issue taking into account. what the ratepayer advocate has mentioned as well. Are there any items that any commissioner wants to pull for special or to treat separately?
I'd like to recommend for pulling 021 to 023.
021, 22, and 23 will be pulled special. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ortega. Any others? Fine. In that case, Madam Secretary, can you please list the remaining items, which I think are 01 through 6 and 8 through 20 for approval for consideration?
That is correct. 01 through 06, 08 through 020.
Okay, and is there a
Items,
Okay.
1 through 6 and 8 through 20.
Thank you. Any second? Thank you, Commissioner Tran. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
President Marks?
Aye.
Vice President Katz? Aye. Commissioner Ortega?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner Tran?
Aye.
5 ayes, motion adopted.
Thank you very much. Let me give a second for some folks in the room to... Now, the suspenseful part is over. Thank you very much for that. Next, we have management reports, one in particular where we have a presentation on summer heat readiness. Certainly timely.
Timely.
Mona?
Whoever's going to sit at that one has to control the slides.
It's okay. I've got control over it. Yeah.
All right. Adam, do you have the con on the slides?
Yeah.
I
guess I'm controlling the slides.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to present on what is an opportune time for summer readiness with today through Thursday, LA County being forecasted to be the hottest in California. So we are currently under an extreme heat warning. So we appreciate this opportunity. We have several speakers. I'll be speaking about all of our joint systems, and then we have 2 from power and then 1 from water to make sure we have a comprehensive report. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the first thing we want to talk about is the corrective actions that were pending from our past incidents. So really looking at them in terms of training, ensuring that we are continuing to evolve and roll out our incident command training. We have mass trainings in process. We currently have 4 dates scheduled in August where we'll be doing trainings that'll have a capacity of 470 people each. So we have 4 of those in August. So we can start getting that groundwork for those who have not yet received incident command training. And that's just the beginning. I have 2 staff members currently who are in the FEMA instructor course this week as we speak. So I'm currently a FEMA instructor, so I'll be doing the courses in August. And then we're increasing our capacity to provide those trainings in-house. Also improving our customer communications tracking. So the RFI is going to be issued actually at the end of July. The slide says in June, but it'll actually be at the end of July. In terms of research and implementing our field technologies, we currently have a power technology implementation team that has been working on receiving information from other vendors, and we have several pilot programs that are going into effect now. And then my favorite of all of these is the needing the meteorologist staff for real-time situational awareness. And so at the June 9th commission meeting, thank you for approving that contract. And I'm excited to say that Thursday we have our first interview for a meteorologist. So the recruiting team has been on top of it. We've received almost 40 applications to date. And that includes meteorologists in 2 different categories. So we have a principal meteorologist who are the type that work for National Weather Service or NOAA. And then we also have a meteorologist that also has an emphasis in fire science. So we're looking forward to bringing those aboard. With that,
Go through the interview with those people.
so the interview process for us is the recruiting company are doing the first round of interviews and then sending them to us for the second round. I've reviewed all of the applications, so we're letting them know who we want to interview. So the interview on Thursday is the second round of interviews. So if that one goes well, we should start looking at onboarding. And with the vendor, the onboarding is a lot faster than it is going kind of through that city process. So my goal is that we'll have at least 1 in place by August, by the end of August.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And how many total are we trying to eventually have?
2 meteorologists currently. And then with the rest of the climate resiliency, so one fire scientist, one climate, or two fire coordinators, one climate scientist, one climate analyst.
Very good, thank you.
So all of those are currently in the recruiting process. Thank you. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the power system.
Good morning, Commissioners, Board President. My name is Mike Trawick. I'm the Director of Power Distribution Operations. We house the electric trouble teams. These are your 24/7 crews that keep the power on, keep the lights on for the city, and keep our people safe when there's an incident. So at Distribution Operations, as Mona alluded to, we coordinate the storm meetings. Basically, I initiate a storm meeting with my power partners. That's Mr. Yakut here, Frank Spencer, other directors from the power groups, construction, maintenance, the ECC. And we coordinate efforts when we're running into a potential storm, and in this case, heat. So we bring in fleet, we bring in our stores, just so everybody knows what our plan is. So as a matter of fact, this morning I held a pre-storm meeting, coordinating with our teams to make sure we're going to have crews on, held over for the afternoon hours, midnight starts, just so we can keep on top of any outages that come up from this heat. And keep in mind, we do always have crews on 24/7. Next slide. So safety protocols for the heat. So heat illness and prevention program. All of our district crews and our field crews go through a training. All of our crews have been through their training already. We usually preempt that earlier in the year, about March, just so we're ready and prepared for it. If there's any questions or issues, we can get those resolved before the heat comes in. Okay, another thing we track is our red flag days. When adverse weather conditions indicate, extremely high risk or of fast-moving fire, conditions defined as 25 miles an hour or more wind, we suspend non-essential work, okay, on facilities in fire threat zones and our Tier 2, Tier 3 areas. Okay, only jobs that are essential to public safety or getting power back onto folks. Okay, next slide. Okay, and for the power system, what we do to prepare for this. So abnormal and worst performing circuits, we attack those before the heat hits, before the rain hits. It's constant to keep our system in a tip-top shape. We need all the options we can have during heat, so we want to make sure our circuits are operating optimally.
Can I ask a question on that?
Shoot, you bet.
Do you mind if I interrupt us?
Yeah, you go.
Sure, I appreciate that. So when heat impacts our system, and I know about 35% of in-basin is underground. That includes things connecting, the big distribution stations and so forth, and the rest is aerial on poles. Is the heat for the trouble circuits a function mainly of demand spiking, say for air conditioning, in those areas, say they're maybe more inland or in the valley, or is it a function of transformers overheating or equipment not cooling off overnight, to cycle through? How much of it is on the demand or supply side, and how much is demand, how much is supply?
So it's generally that the demand increases in the evening hours, and you brought up a very good point. Our system holds up extremely well until we have several evenings, it's generally 3 in a row, of where we don't cool off. If we don't get to about 70 degrees in the evening, we start to worry because it doesn't give our equipment a chance to cool down. So combination of both.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So one other thing we monitor is the city's cooling centers. We make sure those circuits are fed normally and that their robust system is all in place so we don't have any outages where we're inviting people to go cool down. Okay. Next slide. So we have maintenance windows that we work. So we work on 34.5 and 4.8 circuits. We limit those due to loading during summer months, and we reduce planned work outages during summer months, so we're not turning folks off when they're needing the air conditioning the most. Our district and our electric trouble crews prioritize power restoration. Okay, and we continue with our vegetation management to make sure we have routine maintenance around our poles and our transmission lines, and they clear dry brush and vegetation, at least 10 feet around the base of our power poles. All right, next slide. Okay, I'll kick it over to Mo.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, Commissioners. Mo Yakut, Director of Power Substation Operations and Maintenance, and I'll be presenting on behalf of my division and also Power Design and Construction Division. All right, so in preparation for summer heat, our field crews check cooling fans on transformers and install auxiliary ventilation fans at substations as necessary. Fans are switched from auto to manual so that they run 24/7 during the hot summer months. We've already done that. About 3 weeks ago, we did that. Preventative maintenance also includes circuit breaker overhaul and cycling to verify proper operation and distribution relay maintenance to ensure reliable relay protection. We also limit maintenance activities on transmission equipment within substations to maintain system redundancies and maximize equipment availability based on load. Customer stations are inspected throughout the year to identify and address any potential ventilation issues. And maintenance activities include, but are not limited to, high voltage insulator cleaning, cable replacements, switchgear maintenance, and transformer replacement based on abnormal dissolved gas analysis results. Next slide, please.
While you're switching slides, let me ask a quick question.
Sure.
It's not about the maintenance in preparation for the heat. Rather, it's the impact, and I think this is both true for transmission and distribution, the impact that heat has on our routine maintenance schedules where we maybe pull back some of it or defer it so that we aren't interrupting with air conditioning loads, for example, or also to protect our people and the equipment. With climate change, as summer is longer and things are hotter for a greater period, what does that do ultimately to our overall routine maintenance schedules? Is that, when do we get into a problem where we kind of can't keep doing that?
It's pretty much built in. A lot of times during the summer when we have circuit trouble that we don't plan for, our system's pretty redundant where it allows us to put certain 4.8 kV circuits on the transfer bus so we can pick up loads still. It's just not being fed from its normal feeder position. Which means that the load isn't regulated, but we're still able to keep the lights on. So voltage can fluctuate, and we try to keep it in between the allowable voltages for our customers.
I would add to that, there's really two major things that I think climate change has impacted us, many areas, but in terms of maintenance. One is the extended high heat, earlier in the year and later in the year. The second is the wildfire risk profile throughout the entirety of the year. And how that matters is it's not just the summer readiness work that we need to do, but it also means that we need to figure out how to shrink our outage windows. So if we're doing maintenance on a power plant unit, we need to find ways to shrink the time that that's out. The second thing is on some of our transmission upgrades, which is very critical to our renewable transformation and just critical to load growth in general, is we often have to look at creative design approaches and construction approaches to minimize the time that those transmission lines are out. So it hits us both in the extended heat period during the summer, but it also impacts our outage window even in the wintertime. So it lends itself to the huge challenge that utilities, and not just us, but a huge challenge that utilities, especially in California, face now. So wanted to add to what Mo had just mentioned as well.
And that includes investments, I assume, in transmission technologies that reduce line losses, which are worse when there's high heat.
That's a very good point. Yep.
And could you talk a little bit about that delegation we sent to the Qantas where we were looking at live transmission, the robotics? Did you go to that?
Maybe I can defer to Mike Trawick, who actually did visit and has some really good lessons learned.
Yeah, we did take a trip out to Qantas. They're a leader in transmission technologies. They had some great info for us. Actually got to live line 345 kV in a test setting, of course. Just phenomenal technologies that are coming out. Yeah, they're cutting edge. So we're learning a lot from them.
Superconducting tape.
Right.
Fascinating.
Just wildfire, when we talk about the climate impacts on our utility, I would love a presentation sometime before the winter. It looks like we're looking, because of the increased heat in the ocean, looking at a really unprecedented super El Nino, and I think those storm preparations would be really useful to look at as well, but that kind of adds to the winter impacts in addition to the summer impacts.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So we also use infrared cameras and acoustic imagers to help identify hotspots and electrical tracking on high voltage equipment, allowing issues to be corrected before equipment failures occur. This ensures reliability during peak summer events. Next slide, please. So Power Design and Construction's Maintenance Engineering and Planning Group, they use Power Transformer Experts, a software program to evaluate the condition of transformer banks using the dissolved gas analysis results, maintenance history, 2-year loading trends, and based on this information, they identify transformers that should be considered for replacement and or upgrades that need to be done, and they share their recommendations with our power system engineering group for prioritization. This work is done during the off-peak months. Next slide, please. So through the Power Systems Resiliency Program, Power Design and Construction works with stakeholders to prioritize critical transformer replacements and 4.8 kV feeder upgrades before the summer. During fiscal year 25-26, we replaced a total of 5 distributing station transformers and also adding an additional 17.5 MVA to the system. And during the same time frame, 8 new feeder positions were completed, along with 4 existing feeder positions were upgraded, adding an additional 31 MVA to the system. So these capital projects increase the capacity of the distribution system by a total of 48.5 MVA, enhancing system reliability and supporting continued load growth. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Board President Marks, Commissioners. Adam Perez, I'm the Director over Water Operations, overseeing operations from Mona Basin out into the harbor of the city of Los Angeles. There's only one of me today. Our slides are definitely much shorter than the power system.
Got you, man.
You got you?
Yeah,
you got my
we got
support?
you. I got
all right,
you.
all right.
Yeah.
I feel
One team.
One team. One team.
Nothing but love.
So the water system is about a quarter of our total budget. It's about a third of our total debt. And, I think you're going to hold your own just fine, Adam.
All right, I appreciate it. Our slides today for the water system are going to focus in on a couple key things, really focusing on employee safety, but also going into about readiness into the heat, as well as readiness for the red flag days and predictions. So just like on the corporate side for all the different systems, it's about heat illness in our prevention program, looking at ways we can support our employees. The temperature varies quite a bit throughout the system, obviously. Just last week in the Owens Valley, we had temperatures way above in the 100-degree, and we did have one employee who went down for heat exhaustion. So these programs are really important to us. And what it does for us is it's an annual training, and it calls for essentially is knowing the symptoms, causes related to heat. Also is about tailgating. Basically, and that comes down to is temperatures. So if it's temperatures below 80 degrees, we still tailgate it, but it's a little different in how we manage it. But once we go above 80 degrees, we're talking about water requirements, shade requirements, and then we go 95 degrees, it's even more increases in regards to the requirements associated with the IAPP or the heat illness prevention plan. So really as associated with that, again, is water, hydration. It's about 1 quart per hour for employee. So that's quite a bit of water that we have to maintain for that. But the staff will have in the back of their utility vehicles, they'll have large containers that we basically refill. We have shade that we provide for them. So another big piece is just making sure that there is quick access to information. So within all the different vehicles, we have these OSHA cards that we can just quick reference guides in regards to for the employee can understand the requirements as well as maintaining and understanding how to support each of the employees. Basically just
knowing the different things for heat exhaustion, heat rash, because all those things are real important throughout the day. Like I said, we had that incident last week in the Owens Valley. That employee was exhibiting heat exhaustion. So understanding what that means was a big deal. For that employee meant that it was rest, and it was putting the employee in shade, water, as well as making sure that we didn't leave that employee alone for that time being. So what it was, we kept someone with that employee, and we quickly had that employee go to the hospital. And the employee was quickly released after that once he had the IV and was back to his normal levels as well as fluids. So real important is to overall train on this, and also it's really great to see how the employees take care of each other out in the field.
That IV you mentioned, was that done on site or at an emergency facility?
So for the employee that was there last week, that was done, taking care of the employee was done at the job, but he was quickly transported to the hospital and brought in through the emergency room.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I talked about a little bit about the preparations going into the summer, but there's also preparations for the red flag. So preparations is going into the summer is working closely with the LAFD on the overall hydrants. With that, the LAFD is the ones who are to let us know which hydrants need the care, and we will basically go out and do the repairs on them. So they're basically cataloging all those. We're looking at overall making sure we have the proper equipment, making for the proper staffing going into this as well. So that could be either for us, for the water side, would be generators, making sure we have making sure that our internal combustion kind of global pumps systems are ready to be used. And also, just like on the power side, is also proper vegetation management around our facilities. So within the water side, up and down the whole system, is just making sure that we're following LAFD requirements for proper safeguarding and around our different facilities.
I assume in the water system, the vegetation management is meant to really protect the water infrastructure as opposed to like in power preventing ignition, which is another different goal.
Well, I mean, it's kind of for the water side, it's defensible zones because within around a lot of our facilities, we do have different sort of housing that is around our facilities. So make sure we have defensible zones. That is something we do work with the local community about as well as around our facilities as well. So kind of we look at it on both sides.
Just one thing to add. I'm sorry, Commissioner. Go ahead.
Thank you. Looking at the paragraph that talks about the LA Fire Department and requests from them, at some point there was some concern as to whether this communication back and forth was steady, consistent, so that there was no drop. As you know, we've had this issue, alleged issue, I should say. If it's okay, counsel over there, to say alleged issue of whether or not fire hydrants were or were not up to par, or whether the fire department had alerted us to an issue. Is that matter settled?
I think definitely after the Palisades event, I think the communications is definitely clear now between our water distribution units as well as with the fire department.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah, sure.
If you don't mind?
Yes.
Please,
Because I've been talking to the fire department on this personally. So one of the challenges that came up to the Palisades was that supposedly there were hydrants that needed to be repaired and DDP had not repaired them. And what was clarified later is that the request to repair hydrants actually did not come to us. It came after, and once it came, all the hydrants that were identified that need to be repaired were repaired within weeks. So we completed that. Now, moving forward, what we've done is the fire department has a system they call FIMS. And we actually were able to develop a common database where the LAFD, when staff goes out to do an inspection, they put it into this system. The information going into this, I will call it an app, goes directly into a database that LA Water and Power also has access to. So what will happen is that it'll be real time. They do an inspection, they determine that there's repairs needed. It goes into that system, it alerts my staff in water distribution. They can go ahead and dispatch somebody to take care of it. Once we do the work, we can then put our information that the hydrant has been repaired into the same system, goes into the database so the fire department gets notified. So now we actually have a full circle communication. We get a request, we address it, and we let them know that it's been addressed. We can even actually take pictures and include those as well. So the system is ready. The fire department is finalizing some internal documentation on their part. And once they complete that, they're going to start doing the inspection, and we'll get that information into that system immediately. So we believe that this is going to take care of any kind of miscommunication. We will not have the need to get emails saying, here's a list of hydrants. We'll be able to get it a more real time. The other change too the fire department is implementing is they're going to actually have staff assigned on their days off to do this kind of work at each station. So rather than having the whole station be out there testing hydrants, and when there's a call, they all have to get off and go to respond to the call, this will be firefighters who are not scheduled to work that day. They will be doing this kind of work, so they'll be able to get through more hydrants in a particular day. So we're just waiting right now. As a matter of fact, I just sent an email to the fire marshal for him to let me know when they're going to be ready for that, Commissioner. So
Well,
we believe that's going to close the circle.
Well, I certainly appreciate that on-the-fly report, because you always have these things on the tip of your tongue and on your mind, and I appreciate that very much. I realized from the get-go that this was more of a fire department issue than it was ours, but the point is, we're still under the same umbrella as the city, and we're always trying to work in unison. It sounds like this will absolutely take care of any issues. Thank you.
It should, Commissioner. And just to add on and to address the first comment the board president made about brush clearance, one of the things that we also do is that many of our properties, the brush clearance is actually done by LAFD contractors. So we actually have an agreement with LAFD where we pay them to have their contractors actually do the brush clearance. They do a lot of our facilities, and the great thing is that they know exactly what their standards are for brush clearance. So when their contractors do the work and they go and make sure everything is okay, we know that we have LAFD approved brushing being done. Some facilities we do ourselves because we do have property management staff that can do it. However, for some of the bigger, more routine things, we actually use the fire department's contract. So that's another point of collaboration with LAFD.
You know, and to that point, LAFD is under new leadership. Chief Jaime Moore is very collaborative and proactive. We've had several in-person meetings with him. Anselmo's in constant communication with them, Zaraya and Mona and her team, not to even mention the wildfire. On the wildfire side, you know, our new wildfire plan is going to have power and water, and we're closely communicating with the LAFD. I think we've got a lot more open line of communication with them these days.
Yeah. That's another important point. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think I just want to say thank you, Anselmo, having been here throughout a lot of these discussions. That is really excellent to hear about a real-time system. We are all one city, and I think being able to share data across departments is really critical. I just wanted to also just clarify or have you say out loud, I believe when it comes to hydrant repairs, our response time is within 24 hours. Is that correct?
We try to get to them as quickly as possible, Commissioner. Obviously, if we get a whole bunch of them at one time, the first thing to do is basically divide them up per the district. But our goal is to get to them as quickly as possible. And by the way, when the fire department does an inspection of a fire hydrant, it's not always meaning that it needs to be repaired. Sometimes you may have a stem on a hydrant that's a little tougher. The hydrant is completely functional, but it takes a little more elbow grease to open it. So that will be in a report. If a hydrant needs to be painted, that's in the report as well. Or for example, if let's say there's something accumulated around the hydrant, making accessibility limited, that will be put in the report as well. If there's an actual problem with the hydrant, staff will either repair it or replace it. So if we have a car or something that hits a hydrant, those things go straight up to the priority, and we try to go out there immediately and replace them as soon as we know that a hydrant has been hit.
Thank you.
Sure.
So then just to finish off would be what are the actions done ahead of a red flag event? That is basically we do is we, just like the power system, we postpone any of the non-critical work, non-critical operations. We would divert that. Certain activities such as welding, vegetation management, we do brush clearing would also be paused because of how that could basically have sparks and things could also set things off for potential fire within some of the vegetated areas. And then the last thing, and this is really falling within water operations, we go through a process of what they call crowding the tanks. And so what we do is, and we also go through and we refuel a lot of the internal combustion backups, so we call them ICs, as also we have generators, power generators, that we could basically support about the roughly 87 or so pump stations within the system. And so that is all done ahead of the red flag kind of warnings, as well as big holidays as well. So we just went through this ahead of the July 4th weekend. And what basically, I'll define crowding a little bit. What crowding means is that essentially we take the tank basically to the top end of their operational band. So that allows for the tank systems to be filled within certain areas. So basically, if something does happen, we have a water available to be able to be used within that part of the system. This just happened recently, and as part of the Encino event that just happened last week. We had come off the July 4th weekend. We had basically all of our tanks, everything ready to go. And then when we had the fire, we did lose power to the Encino pump station. We were able to use the IC for that system to move water and to keep normal operations within that part of the system. So basically, we were able to test it and see it, and it did work as planned. So that's what kind of that is for us, this aspect of crowding and refueling of the tanks.
Just so people, they may not know about the Encino events, this is a fire that was contained to less than 8 acres and put out pretty quickly by LAFD near the Encino Reservoir.
Correct. That is it, yeah. And I think with that, goes over back to you.
Can we have the next slide, please? So just rounding this out, we wanted to talk about communications. Heat safety messaging is very important during these times. So our communications department, through Joe and his team, really put out proactive messaging ahead of any forecasted heat events. So we talked today about a little bit about cooling centers. So currently, as of today through Thursday, there are going to be a little over 100 cooling centers that will be activated. We partner with the city on those, and those are every rec and park facility as well as all of the library facilities. So that information is being put out. Also information on energy conservation and any other tips that people may need. Next slide, please.
We also have programs for fans and subsidized air conditioning for low-income customers too, so they can, if they can't go to a cooling center, they can stay in their own apartment or house. And
That's what's coming in a couple of slides, yes. So thank you for that. So our proactive messaging includes all of our different modalities of communication. So our press releases, we talk to media, all of our social media, and then we also collaborate with the city and all of their communications to ensure that everything is consistent. Next slide, please. That coordination also extends out to our Community Affairs Division as well as our LIGA group to ensure that any information that we have is going to any of the elected officials, as well as when or if we have any extended power outages or power outages that are over 10,000 customers. Those are then communicated to all of our elected officials on a rotation of about a 4-hour frequency to ensure that they have that continual communication. Next slide, please. So additionally, we have supporting and empowering our customers. So we do fan distribution, as you mentioned. We also do cooling center amenities. So of that 100 or so facilities that are opened as cooling centers, the city has chosen about 7 of those sites that will receive enhanced services. So not just come in and get out of the heat, but also will have things like portable hydration stations, charging stations, cooling packs, first aid kits, those types of things. So we've been working with them to ensure that those services that we are providing are mobile, so that if those 7 stations need to be changed based on the location of the heat, that can happen. So we're working with them on those. The next slide, please. So Cool LA Marketplace has energy efficient cooling and makes it more accessible. So it was initially launched in 2022. And it's to assist our vulnerable customers with dealing with the impacts of extreme heat. And so we provide point of sale rebates for up to $275. And I think one of the interesting things is that we're working with the program implementator with our retail partners to bring down the cost of those systems so that the rebate covers the entirety of the cost. So that's currently in process. Next slide, please. And then the Efficient Product Marketplace program is also an LA 100 equity strategy program that addresses 3 priority areas. It provides affordable programs to safely upgrade housing and infrastructure. It ensures that the department offers energy efficient options to all customers regardless of their financial situation. And then it implements a collaborative platform for continuous engagement. Next slide, please. So continuing on with our programs and services, we have heat mitigation home improvement partnership with the Mayor's Office and with HACLA. And that was launched in 2024. It was developed by the Mayor's Office and the Climate Energy Mobilization Office, the Housing Authority of LA, and LADWP, and it includes the purchase and installation of air conditioning units for the vulnerable customers, including the HACLA properties. And so we are continuing to install those, and for now, the units that we have, installation should be completed on all of those by August of 2026. Next slide, please. So we proactively inform our customers whenever there is a National Weather Service, either a heat warning, bless you, or a heat advisory. We ensure that we're getting the information out. We ensure that also that we are collaborating with the call center to ensure that our customer call center is aware of any heat and is able to answer any of the questions. We schedule additional call center staff when appropriate. We update our IVR messaging. We send text alerts, and we coordinate with the communications with the rest of the city. And then also customer service has an outage liaison that coordinates with Mike Crayweek and his team in electric trouble to ensure that we have that communications between the two teams. Next slide, please. And then power outage alerts, our customers, both residential and commercial, are encouraged to sign up to receive our power outage alerts. And they can also go on the website and find out what the status of those alerts are. Next slide, please. And then I think Joe mentioned the customer support Saturdays when he was doing his presentation. So offering customer support Saturdays to residential customers on the third Saturday of every month. And it gives them that one-on-one consultation to inform on the ways to save water and electricity costs and enroll in any eligible programs that we may have. And then lastly, next slide, actually next two slides. There we go, thank you. In terms of corporate health and safety, I'm not going to repeat. Both Water and Power mentioned the things that we're doing, and then Mark came up and talked about our Safety Week. So here I just really want to highlight that the communication, we communicate internally, we do bulletins and ensure that everybody understands and knows, in addition to the training that's offered, some of the tips that we can do to beat the heat, and then the protective equipment that we provide to all of our employees to ensure that we have employee safety. And with that, that'll conclude our presentation, and we're happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. You know, I'm mindful, I was hearing some folks talking they're from East Coast Utilities, mainly in PJM, which is the regional transmission organization for the Mid-Atlantic and Midwestern states. Some huge utilities there. And they recently had, with the extreme heat, a little over a week ago, you know, demand that was in excess of what they were able to supply, and between 1 and 2 million people lost power, not through brownouts, but just because the system couldn't provide it. And one of the people was commenting, they said, I don't know, and this is in contrast, by the way, to what you're doing here and the whole team is doing. He said, I don't know why we treat extreme heat differently than we do other storms. When there's a winter storm coming, we prepare. And when there's a hurricane coming, we put out a warning and people do what they're supposed to do. We should do that for heat as well. And I don't know why more utilities don't do that. And obviously from the presentation you've given, from the fact that we've got power and water folks and joint, you know, on top of these things, looking at it, emergency preparedness, not just to react but after the fact, but to be prepared in advance. I think it's really worth noting because it's unusual and it's really good to see and critically important.
I think we try to take every opportunity to be able to do that. I know that we were at the pop-up event yesterday at Boyle Heights. In addition to offering customer information, we were providing heat tips and emergency preparedness information as well.
Thank you. I wanted to add also, thank you not only for how you're treating this as a storm, but also that the human and public health elements were really woven in here. Obviously, we need to prepare our infrastructure, but extreme heat, which is increasing with climate change, is a serious threat to public health in LA County. In fact, the County Public Health Department recently launched a heat illness and mortality dashboard, so you can actually track how many people are losing their lives even due to extreme heat. So I'm glad to see all of the collaboration. I know we've worked with CMO for a number of years now to make sure that the messaging is coordinated with the city. But also just wanted to add that I'm glad that you presented on the employee safety piece as well. You know, our field workers are out there rain and shine and heat. And, really there are significant risks there. And so I'm really glad that the right attention is being paid to the safety of DWP workers who are out there making sure that the lights stay on and the water keeps running. So thank you for all of that.
The other thing I want to mention so that people are aware of it, there's a lot of what I like and what I'm seeing is that there's a relationship between planning, system planning, long-term planning, technology choices, procurement, staffing, all the things we have to do over time, and the operational day in, day out of supplying the water, supplying the power, balancing load, making sure that we can, meet the current needs as they're happening and fix things when they break or keep them from breaking if we can. Because often those things are in different silos. And I hope that when we have on board, our new climate experts, whether they're dealing with microclimates of fires and canyons or whether they're dealing with, bigger climate and extreme weather event issues, that they're equally on top of both the operational and the planning pieces of this because they fit together. And also how water and power fit together. Hoover Dam, if Lake Mead drops a little bit, which it probably will in the next couple of weeks, it's quite possible we end up in a situation where 12 of the 17 turbines will not be able to run because the head pressure and the volume of water will be insufficient for them to work. That's a reservoir that's the largest in the country, serves 25 million people with water across many states, but it also supplies, power. And those things are connected, and climate change and hydrology and soil moisture content and radiation for heat, all these things, come together. So our understanding of that holistically across all of our systems is critically important. So thank you for doing that.
President Marsh, you used an important term, silo. I think we talk about silos all the time here at the department. Nobody knows what the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. It was only a few years ago that the heat preparedness presentation was just a T&D only thing, just transmission and distribution sitting up at the table, maybe with some engineering support talking about electric trouble and what they were doing to get ready. In the last few years, we've now partnered with the substation side. We've reorganized the power system so that we have a complete distribution operations group that has substations, it has electric trouble folks, and now you're seeing Adam Perez there sitting next to the power folks being supported by the Office of Emergency Management. So the silos are really starting to come down thanks to the leadership of Zoraya and Mona and Anselmo and Jason, Joe. I mean, it's a constant battle when we do fight these heat storms. It's very much, to your point, just like any other weather event. In wind and rain, you mobilize crews to the largest outages first so that you can try to get the most folks back on. But in a heat storm, the heat itself is its own threat to life for the public. So we have to operate in a very different method to be able to mobilize to the oldest outage first. Couple all of that with our new fancy Eagle Rock facility. We are cocked, locked, and ready to rock. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I'd like to move now to reports by commissioners on any committee activity since our last meeting.
No reports.
Reports? Okay, thank you. There are 3 items that were filed. I'll take them all kind of together. There's our notice of the compliance status report, the FSO monthly activities report, and the water system monthly report. Do any commissioners have any comments or questions for staff on those?
Nope.
Okay, in that case, Madam Secretary, please order those items L1, L2, and L3 as filed.
So filed.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have any motions for consideration at a future meeting they'd like to raise at this point?
Nope.
Good, thank you. Hearing none. Madam Secretary, do we have any neighborhood council representatives who have submitted comments?
No community impact statements or formal positions have been filed for any items on today's agenda.
Okay, then we'll move on to the 3 items that were called for special consideration by Commissioner Ortega. Commissioner Ortega, do you want to take those items which are 21, 22, and 23 together or separately?
We can do them together.
Okay, fine. In that case, I'm interested in discussion from many commissioners on those topics.
Yeah, so I like just to bring up the fact that we've heard their grievances and recommendations, and staff reviewed their documents as well, and evidence provided. As a public commenter who mentioned, there was no new information provided. Therefore, I don't see a warrant to go back to the committee for further discussion. I think this case is pretty much closed on all three of them for that.
Okay. Commissioner Pinder, you're in the committee as well. Any?
I don't think either one of those things are closed. I think we will keep seeing at least one of the people, but perhaps both of the people. That's what made me, and I apologize if I stepped on anyone's toes or shoes in this response. I know before I was on this committee, we were hearing that from this same group. In fact, both of these people, before it even got to this committee that I am newly on and not necessarily the best fit for. I do think it important that obviously the people speak to the committee, the grievance committee, but when they come again before the commission, even though they only have 2 minutes, I do think that it is still important that they be told again. These are people who are in-house. Of course, there's some you will never, ever be able to satisfy. I'm not saying that we second guess, but this just doesn't seem to be working as well as some of the other things that we handle. It's almost like a cancer for some of the people. And we know if any one of us said, yeah, I think I have a cancer, we would tell them to do something more than just report it to us. So I'm just a little concerned. I know the formalities of grievances, et cetera, but each one of these I recall appearing before the board at least 2 or 3 times before it was again held at this committee. And I don't think some of these will never end. I just think it'll just be something that will occur and occur and occur. Same people, same theme. And I don't know what the answer is.
Any reason for us as a commission not to approve the PRC's recommendations?
No.
No, and I just want to add, I think having served on the committee previously, I think the committee has a lot of clarity in terms of process, and so sometimes the answers that are given to employees are, this is a concern that would be better worked through a different process. It might be accommodation or other processes. Not everything falls under the PRC, and so, perhaps there's more we could do to make that clear upfront to employees, what actually should be a PRC issue versus not. And ensure that people know about different avenues available to them.
I
But
appreciate
with that, yeah,
With you
absolutely.
having been on that committee for a long time, I've only been there on one occasion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, is this it? So thank you for saying that there may be some structure or something that it doesn't rest with us necessarily to change it, but it seems to me that something has to be done to make it fit a little, just like adding an extra turn in a screw. It's just not long enough or wide enough or
Thank you.
something.
With that, I'd like to make a motion to approve items 21, 22, and 23 that reflect the decisions of the Personnel Relations Committee.
Thank you.
You have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
President Marks?
Aye.
Vice President Katz?
Aye.
Commissioner Ortega?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner Tran?
Aye.
5 ayes, motion adopted.
Good. Thank you very much. And that was a motion to declare to approve agenda items 021, 22, and 23. We're going to move into closed session now. I'll point out that on the agenda, there are 4 items scheduled for closed session. One of those items, item 4, a conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation with a reference to the California Government Code. That item is being withdrawn from consideration, so the closed session will only cover the first 3 items that are listed on the agenda. And I invite our acting general counsel, Jonathan, if you could please read us in.
Yes, so members of the public, the board is going to recess into closed session for 3 separate matters, all citing to the same government code. That is Government Code Section 54956.9, Subdivision D1 of the California Government Code for pending litigation. Those matters are as follows: Littman v. USA et al., case number 2:25-CV04360, SB-MAR, as well as Ashrat Yetskia v. City of Los Angeles et al., case number 24-VEC V04955, and finally, the case of Ana Laura Villalobos v. LADWP, case number 24-VEC V05113. As stated by the board president, the 4th matter has been withdrawn and will not be heard in closed session.
Thank you. So we now move into closed session.
o privilégio de conviver com Tom Jobim no Brasil e no mundo.
I appreciate that. It's always, you know,
Didn't realize you were waiting on.
We are ready. Ready? Okay. We have finished closed session and are now back in the public session for the regular meeting of the Board of Water and Power Commissioners on July 14, 2026. And I'd ask Jonathan, on behalf of the City Attorney's Office, to please read us out with the results of the closed session.
Yes, Mr. President. With regards to P1, that's Lippman v. United States of America et al., there was discussion held, but there was no action taken, and so there's nothing to report out. With regards to P2, that's Asherat Yechskia v. City of Los Angeles et al., the board consented to the authorization of a second payment amount of $74,076.26. This additional payment of $74,076.26 combined with the previously approved settlement amount of $100,702,923.74 would result in the full and final settlement of the subject case with, and it was approved unanimously. And finally, with regards to P3, that's Ana Laura Villalobos v. Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. The board consented unanimously to the approval of the full and final settlement of this matter in the amount of $490,000, and P4 was withdrawn and thus not heard in closed session. That's all, Mr. President.
Good. Thank you very much. And there being no further business, I, with unanimous consent of the board, order the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.